Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Why can an action that seems harmless become a trap that shackles your mind and body? What happens when you continuously chase temporary pleasure without realizing that it's slowly taking away your ability to control your life? This action, though seen as normal in modern society, can strip you of true freedom, something only those who master Stoic philosophy can truly understand. Every time you give in, you're just reacting to a craving, but are you unknowingly turning yourself into a slave to those very feelings? The fleeting satisfaction from dopamine is nothing more than a temporary deception. The relief you feel after each act of masturbation is really a turbulent wave, hiding the psychological storm brewing within. So, do you have the courage to face these temporary desires and seek true freedom? Or will you continue to be caught in the whirlpool of psychological weakness? 1. Masturbation and its effects. Masturbation, though considered a natural and common act, doesn't always come without consequences. Each time you masturbate, your brain releases dopamine, the hormone responsible for providing a temporary sense of happiness. But this leads to a chain of deeper effects that many fail to recognize. When dopamine is released, you feel relaxed and satisfied. However, if this act occurs frequently, your brain becomes accustomed to this level of dopamine, resulting in dependence. The initial sense of comfort will no longer be the same, and you'll need to keep turning to masturbation to achieve the same level of satisfaction. This can lead to addiction, stripping you of your ability to control your actions. In fact, excessive masturbation can decrease self-control and focus. It creates emotional instability, making you more prone to stress and even depression. The inability to control this desire plunges you into a cycle of guilt and dissatisfaction. This mindset can cause you to lose interest in other activities in life, particularly long-term goals. In Stoic philosophy, self-control is one of the key factors in achieving inner peace. Marcus Aurelius pointed out that we cannot control the desires and emotions that come to us, but we can control how we react to them. The inability to control the act of masturbation is a prime example of being bound by fleeting emotions, rather than mastering oneself. 2. Dopamine and masturbation addiction. Dopamine, often called the happiness hormone, plays a significant role in creating feelings of temporary satisfaction and happiness. Every time you masturbate, your body releases dopamine, providing a sense of relaxation and comfort. However, it is this very dopamine that becomes the root cause of masturbation addiction. When you engage in this act, dopamine is released, making you feel satisfied and at ease. But as dopamine levels gradually decrease, your brain demands a higher level of stimulation to achieve the same level of satisfaction. This creates a cycle. You masturbate more to experience the same feeling. Over time, you will need to masturbate increasingly often to satisfy your brain's dopamine craving, leading to dependence. This doesn't just affect your physiology, but also profoundly impacts your psychology. The lack of dopamine leads to anxiety, a lack of self-confidence, and even depression. It makes you more susceptible to being trapped in the cycle of temporary comfort without realizing that you're losing the ability to master yourself. In Stoic philosophy, self-control is the key to achieving inner peace. One of the great lessons from Marcus Aurelius is not to become enslaved to fleeting sensations like dopamine. Learning to master these temporary desires is the path to true freedom and inner tranquility. 3. The psychological consequences of masturbation addiction. Masturbation addiction not only affects physical health, but also leads to significant psychological consequences. When the brain is continuously influenced by dopamine from the act of masturbation, the individual undergoes profound changes in their emotions and mental state. Initially, masturbation can provide a sense of comfort and relaxation. However, as this behavior becomes habitual, it causes an imbalance in the brain. The comfort provided by dopamine starts to diminish, and the addict may feel deprived, anxious, or even depressed. The feelings of guilt after each session can darken their mood, further intensifying psychological stress. This condition may cause individuals to withdraw from social activities, retreat into isolation, and lose interest in close relationships or long-term goals. Feelings of loneliness, shame, and low self-esteem start to take over, making it increasingly difficult to connect with others or find joy in life. In Stoic philosophy, self-control and emotional regulation are the keys to living a peaceful and meaningful life. When one cannot control impulses like masturbation, they are surrendering their freedom and mastery over themselves. Seneca emphasized that inner peace can only be achieved when we do not let ourselves be governed by fleeting emotions and desires. Masturbation addiction is a clear example of losing control over oneself, which strips us of serenity and the ability to live purposefully. 4. Stoic philosophy on self-control. Self-control is one of the core values in Stoic philosophy, offering individuals the means to find inner peace and true freedom. Stoicism is not only about controlling external actions, but emphasizes the ability to regulate emotions, thoughts, and inner desires. For Stoic philosophers, self-control is not about completely suppressing every feeling, but rather about consciously recognizing and confronting desires without allowing them to dictate one's actions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, shares, "We cannot control the external world, but we can control our response to every event." This means that, no matter how the world around us changes, how we respond to it is what truly matters. In the case of masturbation, this implies not allowing the temporary satisfaction of emotions or dopamine to govern our actions and mood. For Stoics, self-control is a continuous process of mindful awareness and intentional action. It leads us to true freedom, not freedom from feelings, but freedom from dependency on them. Self-control is not just a skill, but a way of life, enabling individuals to become masters of themselves rather than slaves to temporary desires. According to Stoicism, mastering oneself is the path to a meaningful, free, and peaceful life. 5. The story of change. There was once a man who found himself trapped in the cycle of temporary desires, unable to break free from the habit of masturbation. The initial sense of satisfaction always brought him relief, but it was quickly followed by feelings of emptiness, guilt, and anxiety. Life seemed devoid of real fulfillment, and long-term goals or relationships around him began to feel increasingly insignificant. He felt as though he were living in an emotional cage, unable to escape, with no power to control his actions. One day, he began exploring Stoic philosophy and realized that true freedom doesn't come from satisfying temporary desires, but from mastering oneself. He learned how to recognize and face his emotions and urges, rather than allowing them to dictate his behavior. He began focusing on long-term values, instead of chasing fleeting comforts. As he practiced the principles of Stoicism, such as self-control, mindfulness, and emotional mastery, he began to experience a profound change in his life. Instead of feeling guilty after each instance of masturbation, he became resolute in his goals and realized that lasting satisfaction doesn't stem from momentary pleasures, but from living a purposeful life with strong self-discipline. His story is a clear example of the transformation Stoicism can bring. By applying Stoic principles, he not only regained true freedom, but also restored his self-confidence and emotional control. Indeed, as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Freedom comes from not allowing yourself to be enslaved by temporary desires." 6. Finding happiness through self-control. Happiness is not found in fleeting moments of impulsive satisfaction, but in the mastery of oneself. In a world full of temptations and temporary desires, seeking happiness through self-control is a challenging yet immensely rewarding path. Stoic philosophy teaches us that when we control our emotions and actions, we will discover lasting peace and joy. True happiness does not come from fulfilling momentary desires. It comes from living consciously, understanding the value of what we truly need and yearn for. As you begin to focus on controlling your emotions and actions, instead of chasing transient pleasures, you will uncover a deeper source of happiness. It is a happiness born from living according to your principles and values, from acting with purpose, and not being swayed by external temptations. Stoicism teaches that happiness is not something that can be attained through temporary joys, but is the result of living a life of self-discipline, responsibility, and meaning. When you master yourself, you also master your own happiness. 7. Controlling emotions. Emotional control is the foundation for building a meaningful life and lasting happiness. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that while we cannot control every event that happens around us, we absolutely can control how we respond to and perceive those events. Happiness is not something that comes from the outside. It is the result of self-mastery and remaining steadfast in our values and principles. When we learn to control our emotions, we not only stop being swept away by temporary desires, but also gain the ability to face challenges and difficulties with calmness and wisdom. This helps us not only overcome the temptations of unhealthy habits like masturbation, but also enhances the quality of our lives, improves relationships, and fosters personal growth. True freedom is not the liberation from all feelings, but the ability to control and master them. This is how we achieve inner freedom, not letting external factors dictate our actions, and live a life that is full, peaceful, and purposeful. Ultimately, emotional control is not about eliminating all feelings or emotions, but about understanding and adjusting them so they don't dictate our actions and thoughts. When we master our emotions, we live a life of greater freedom and happiness, precisely the goal Stoicism aims for. When you begin to master yourself and control your emotions, everything in life becomes clearer. Temporary desires lose their power over you, and you will discover true freedom. This is the path to lasting happiness, not from short-lived pleasures, but from persistence, self-control, and a deep understanding of yourself. If you found the insights shared today helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos and share it with those you think will also benefit from exploring these values. Make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on anything. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you continue on your journey to mastering your emotions and discover true freedom in your life.